And welcome to the Inland Sports Show, live and amplified right here on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. I'm Pep Fernandez, broadcasting live deep inside Orange County. And Jeff, where's Jeff? Where's Jeff?
Jeff is, I am hanging out right now. I am at Menifee Lakes Country Club, sitting here overlooking the golf course and talking to you.
So it's a big Citrus Hill versus Heritage battle on the links. Is that what's going down?
Apparently, that's what's going down. I just figured it was close enough to my house that I could park here for a while, watch some golf, and talk to you on the phone.
Old Timmy Hatch is around, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid him though.
Timmy
if I
Hatch.
possibly can.
Well, we got a big show here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Jeff, we've got a lot to get to, but I think the thing that most people are excited about coming up at 4 o'clock in less than 1 hour, the new head coach of the UC Riverside men's basketball team, David Patrick, will join us live, an exclusive first interview with the new head coach of the Highlanders. Jeff, we're excited to get him on the show. We're going to get him in the studio as well very soon. But this is for our first chance, actually, to talk with this guy, and we're going to do it live on the air right here on the Inland Sports Show.
We're going to talk to the new coach who came from down under to coach the Highlanders, and I'm excited to hear what his thoughts, his vision, his ideas of the future and where the future will lead for the Highlander basketball program.
So we're going to have David Patrick joining us live at 4 o'clock, the former associate head coach at Texas Christian University, TCU. Who did they lose to in the first round? Was that Syracuse in the NCAA tournament?
Yes, it was.
It
the
was.
Playing game. It was after the playing game. TCU had the luck of playing Syracuse and took the loss, and Syracuse had a pretty good run going into the tournament.
That's right. So we were keeping an eye on the Horned Frogs because we knew once their season was completed, a lot of this David Patrick stuff would come into the public eye at least. We had all heard that he was offered the job and accepted it, but it wasn't out there publicly yet. But once TCU lost in the first round, it was just kind of out there. People were talking about it, and it was officially, I guess it was a press release or somehow UCR made the announcement. So we're going to have him live 4 o'clock right here on the Inland Sports Show for the very first time, and we're fired up about it. Of course, we're going to talk NCAA tournament as well, March Madness. We're down to the Final Four. And, Jeff, what a wacky Final Four. Can I just say before we get too deep into this college basketball that I've won the brackets. Greg Holla back in the studio in Riverside. We love you, Greg. You're the best. But I came back. I roared back like a phoenix rising from the ashes. I have come back from out of nowhere and won the whole thing. And, Jeff, it's going to be a blowout. I'm going to run away with the whole thing.
So wait a second here.
What do you mean, wait a second?
Wait, okay, so you won the whole thing. Okay, now who got second is the big question, and so forth. I kind of hit around second or third the whole time.
You know what? It's going to be my daughter. Alana's going to finish in second because she was 2 points up on Greg, and her and Greg had the same exact picks going into the Final Four. So my saving grace, not only did Villanova win, but I also had Michigan in the Final Four. So I doubled up on everybody, and now I still have Villanova live. So I'm still going to be picking up points on Nova. So I'm running away with this. I mean, it's like the United States battling England in the Revolutionary War. This is a beatdown. I'm running away with it. I won.
I'm calling a point shaving scandal. We are going to have the FBI look into this.
Well, what's so crazy is we talked about this when we filled out the brackets after the first round. I was like last or second to last. Like it was really bad. But all the teams that lost for me, they didn't go deep into the tournament. The teams I had going deep into the tournament, I had 7 of the Elite 8. They all stayed alive for a long time. So that was kind of the defining factor in all the brackets was the teams that I picked going deep did go deep. And all the teams that got bounced in the first round, like upsets, it wasn't a big deal because I did not have them going beyond, the Sweet 16 or even into the Elite 8.
Yeah, but I knew you were going to pick Michigan. And the thing is, I probably should have picked Michigan. I saw Michigan play.
You saw them play, Jeff.
And I said, hey, they're a really good team. My biggest question was their depth. And they really haven't shown much depth in this tournament. They've gone with their 6 or 7 guys, similar to what Nevada did, but they just happen to have those 6 or 7 guys are better than anybody. They've got good role players. They've got a great big guy. Mo Wagner, I told you, I think was probably the best college basketball player I'd seen all season. And I honestly, I think it's going to be between Michigan and I think Villanova is going to be playing for their second national championship in 3 years.
That's right. They won it 2 years ago. Last year it was North Carolina. Villanova's coming on strong. So you're going to have 2 number 1 seeds on one side of the bracket for the Final Four. Villanova's taking on Kansas. Although I will say that Kansas-Duke game that went to overtime yesterday in the Elite Eight felt like a national championship game, didn't it, Jeff?
It did, but, the first part of the game, it was ugly. Teams shot more air balls than I've seen in the history of college and pro basketball, or even youth basketball for that matter. But finally, the cover was taken off the rim. Guys started to shoot the ball, and it really was an incredible game, and even a better overtime with the one guy scoring every single basket
in OT. Unbelievable!
It was an incredible game to watch.
It was just like a heavyweight fight. Like one guy would land a punch and the other team would come right back. There was no separation. I mean, a team would, Duke would go up by 3 or 4, and then Kansas would battle back, and they would go up by 2. It was just back and forth, seesaw battle the entire time. It was a lot of fun to watch, and so now it's Kansas, a number 1 seed, against Villanova, also a number 1. On the other side of the bracket, of course, we were talking about Michigan. Jeff saw Michigan when they played UC Riverside right after Thanksgiving back in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And the Cinderella story that keeps going on, and I don't know if Sister Jean visited Greg in his sleep again or what's going on, but Loyola of Chicago is in the Final Four. And Jeff, it's kind of hard to believe. I actually had to, once I heard it, I had to go back and do my own research that Loyola actually won the national championship in 1963. So they have a national title already under their belt, and now they're back with Sister Jean leading the way. Sister Jean was there the first time they won it in 63.
Yeah, Sister Jean has been kind of fun. It's the only thing as I want to say about Sister Jean is she's getting a lot more pub than some of the actual players and coaches.
She is,
which is fine because it brings a lot of light to the school. They were in the tournament in 1985. They won, like you said, won in 1963. The toughest thing for this is you have 3 big powerhouse programs of the 4, and then you have lowly. I shouldn't say lowly, but you have Loyola of Chicago. And you kind of, even though I kind of want Michigan to win because I saw them play and I called a game there earlier this year, I honestly want Loyola to win it just because they are the underdog. They're the 11th seed. They're the darling of the tournament. It would be nice to see that small school come in and take it away from these big giants.
That's the thing. Like when you pick your brackets and when you finally see who's going to be in the Final Four, it's usually the traditional powers, usually, and that's why it's kind of safe to go with the Dukes and the Kentuckys and Kansas and Villanova and the Michigan States. Like it's safer to go with those teams. I mean, why Greg Holla picked Loyola in the Elite Eight in the first place is beyond me. I have no idea, but somehow he did that. But those outliers, those Cinderella teams, they don't happen very often. I know we feel like there are big upsets, and there are, but they're usually like in the first or second round. We're not talking about a Loyola of Chicago all the way in to the Final Four. Like, we don't see that happen very often. It's usually, again, those traditional college basketball powerhouses that we see in and year out. So for Loyola, an 11 seed, to make it to the Final Four with a chance to go to the national championship, I just don't want to take it for granted. I've enjoyed watching their run. I've enjoyed Sister Jean. I love all this, the Cinderella and the dark horse. I know we joke about it on the show that having a dark horse or a sleeper in the brackets, like a Gonzaga or whatnot because they're a 4 seed. But Loyola, I mean, that's beyond a sleeper. I don't even know what you would call this. An 11 seed making it to the Final Four. I don't know if there's something beyond a Cinderella, but that's exactly what we're seeing. And again, I'm with you. I would love to see them in the national championship game, except I do like Michigan. I'm a Michigan fan. I love the Wolverines. I love the Fab Five, Dugan Fife. My dog's name was Dugan. The whole thing. I want to see Michigan in the finals.
Yeah, just think of the runs that we've seen in the last couple decades, really. Gonzaga is no longer that mid-major. Gonzaga is that power. But at one time, they were the small school. You've had other schools. You've had Butler. You've had VCU. You've had teams that have gone far. very close to the Final Four. But this one has seemed just something a little different because you look at Loyola; they run a great program. That their head coach was mentored by Rick Majerus, one of the best offensive minds in the history of the college basketball game. They run their stuff well. They know their roles. There isn't anybody that stands out. You go, that guy's a superstar. They all know and have bought into this program, and it's nice. And you're going to see more of this as the years go on. We're going to see the small schools are going to develop and become this big power, much like Gonzaga did 20 years ago.
Well, we're going to talk more NCAA tournament. In fact, we've got all week long to talk about the Final Four as we'll get you all set for Loyola versus Michigan and also Villanova taking on the other number one seed that's still alive. We got two number ones, Kansas. So a couple powerhouses, a Cinderella, and a team like Michigan who your friend Steve Fisher led to a national championship. Was that 89? Was that the year Michigan won it?
I believe so, but you remember, I think a lot of people confuse the Michigan championship team as the team that had the Fab Five.
Yes.
It was the Glenn Rice team, and a lot of people forget that. They think Michigan national champions. It was the Glenn Rice team that really that's the national championship year. I believe it was 1989, and man, I'll tell you what, Fisher is. I hope they bring him back to Michigan because there's been a lot of talk. Because he was part of the team that they kind of banished.
Yeah, with Chris Webber, yeah.
But I do think, and I hope, because he is a friend of mine, that I hope that they bring him back and show a lot of respect for Coach Fisher because he did a lot for Michigan basketball, not only at the college but the high school as well, and was also an assistant coach for the Pistons. So I hope they do the right thing and bring Fisher back.
Well, this would be a perfect time to kind of celebrate him and celebrate the program now that the Wolverines are back in the Final Four. I remember that. Wasn't Ramil Robinson the point guard on those Michigan teams?
Yes, he was.
When they won the national title. So, yeah, that's pretty awesome to see Michigan back in the Final Four. Also, Jeff, more basketball news over the weekend. Saturday up in Sacramento, our good friend Rob Robinson and Notre Dame coming up short against Pleasant Valley in the CIF Division III championship game at the Golden One Center. 70-65 was that final score. A fantastic run for Notre Dame, and I guess the silver lining here, Jeff, the good news is this Notre Dame team was great, and basically all the pieces are coming back next year again for Coach Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, I had a chance to read some of Coach Robinson's thoughts and his quotes, and I thought the most telling thing is he said, "Hey, this year they were the better team," and that just let me know that they got their CIF championship last year. They were close to getting to the state championship. Next year, though, is going to be their year unless they get bumped up a few divisions, which will probably happen. But he does have the best team in the area coming back, and it could be another good run for him next year.
Well, great run by Notre Dame, losing to Pleasant Valley of Chico, California, 70-65 up in Sacramento for the CIF Division III state championship. A couple more of your inland sports headlines as we get started here on a big Monday show. NASCAR was actually snowed out at Martinsville in Virginia yesterday, so they just completed the race. I was watching it on TV here as I'm sitting on the balcony in Orange County. Clint Boyer getting his first win in nearly 200 starts, so Clint Boyer putting his machine back in victory lane. Big win at Martinsville, gets the big grandfather clock for the win. We also had the Freeway Series, Jeff. Last night the Dodgers took round one, 4-2 against the Halos at the Big A. They'll play again tonight at Chavez Ravine. Dodgers and Halos, and Mike Trout went deep. Yasiel Puig went deep. I love it when the Stars, listen, I know they're exhibitions, but I love it when the Stars play like stars. And, of course, in Los Angeles, Dodgers, Halos. I know I got friends who are Dodgers fans. I got other friends who are Halo fans, and everyone's telling me, dude, this is the year Freeway Series.
Well, it is a chance for, Anaheim. I'm a big Angels fan. Become a Dodgers fan. I'm not a huge Dodgers fan, but I like them. But the Angels, it's going to take a little while. They got a lot of new pieces. They have to really worry about that pitching staff. But it would be nice to see these two teams play in the postseason for sure. That'd be awesome.
So we'll talk more Dodgers and Halos later in the show as the Freeway Series continues. We'll also talk about the National Football Foundation Awards. I just want to publicly thank all the fine folks, the president, Bill Powell, and the rest of the executive board members out there for always inviting the Inland Sports Show and myself to represent out there and had a good time. You know, everyone gets all dressed up. They got the tuxedos on. They got the great food. We had former L.A. Rams star Reggie Doss out there presenting an award in honor of the great Deacon Jones. Remember Deacon Jones, Jeff?
Wasn't he part of the Fearsome Foursome?
He was. Deacon Jones, they have a scholarship now that they're presenting in his honor, and Reggie Doss, a former L.A. Ram, was out there to present it to Robert Hireman from Valley View High School, the big-time wide receiver for the Valley View Eagles. So it was cool to have Reggie Doss there talking to little L.A. Rams at the banquet, and we'll talk more about that later in the show. But again, Jeff, the big thing coming up at 4 o'clock, so just in about 40 minutes, the new head coach of the UC Riverside men's basketball team, David Patrick, will join us live, his very first interview as the head coach of the Highlanders. It's all brought to you by our good friends at Spoiled. Quick quality oil change. You'll be spoiled by great customer service and low prices. Make sure you check them out off of Alessandro Boulevard. That's Spoiled. Ken Sporting Goods, more than 40 years in the Inland Empire, bringing you all of your sporting gear needs. And they also do Letterman's jackets. Go check them out in Horsetown, USA, Norco, California, Ken Sporting Goods, and you will not be disappointed. Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. You got to ask for Ray Bass because he's the best. He's going to hook it up. Doesn't matter if you're a golfer, if you play lacrosse, baseball, football, of course. He's going to make you bigger, faster, and stronger. Check out the strength and speed classes at Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. And Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road, where you can buy, trade, and finance all in the same spot. It's Catalano Motors, making that car shopping experience so easy. No pressure at Catalano Motors off of Temescal Canyon Road. Check out the website, CatalanoCars.com. All right, Jeff, when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, we're going to talk a little more college basketball. We're going to talk about Michigan. We're also going to talk about Valparaiso and how that kind of comes back to the UCR connection. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes.
All
Definitely. Right. UCR beat them this year.
They did. So we're going to talk about how Valpo and Michigan come back to UC Riverside. That's how we're going to bring it all home for the Final Four here for the folks in the Inland Empire. And also a local guy being added to the USC basketball staff, Eric Mobley, whose sons play for Rancho Christian. We'll get into that as well. We got a lot to get to, and it's just getting started. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
Focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. Get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. Come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. I am live deep in Orange County. Jeff is covering some high school golf, right? Big tournament out there.
I am out here. Tim Hatch said, come on out to Menifee Lakes. I'm out here at Menifee Lakes. It's a little chilly. I'm not going to lie. It's a beautiful day, but when that wind kicks up, it's a little chilly. But I'm watching some. I'm overlooking the beautiful lakes of Menifee as Heritage is playing Citrus Hill, and Kim Hatch, the van driver, told me to come on out here. So I'm out here hanging out today doing the show.
Picture this, Jeff. I just ate an ice cream drumstick. You know those drumsticks with the chocolate in the bottom of the cone?
Oh, those are the best.
Yeah, I just had a drumstick. I've got The Force Awakens, Star Wars on TV. I'm sitting back on the balcony, soaking in some sun. It's wonderful.
Yeah, you're by the beach. I am hanging out in Menifee.
Yes, I am. We're deep in Orange County. In fact, a huge shout out to Orange County. They've opened up their homes. They've opened up their hearts to the Inland Sports Show. We appreciate that. All the golfers and the surfers love the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports, i.e. 1350 AM, and we appreciate that. In fact, I can see some of the golfers down below. I'll do a little if they get here on this fairway right behind me, I'll do a little play-by-play. I'm sure it won't distract them. They're probably like, "Who's that guy yelling up in the balcony?" It's really making me mad.
Why is that guy wearing a headset hanging out in the balcony?
No, Jeff, it's going to sound more like this. Why is that guy wearing that on my back? I'm trying to do on my backswing. He's talking about drumsticks.
Hey, you kind of sound like Rich Jeff there for a minute.
Kind of. Rich Jeff is more loud and boisterous. This is more.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Hey, I was going to tell you something. I haven't really talked to you at all.
Tell me something.
This weekend. Hey, I don't know if you guys have ever happened to you, but I took my kids. I took Johnny and Connor to go see Pacific Rim 2. You know, the big monster.
Yeah, I love the what is called the Jaggers, the big monsters.
The Jaggers and the Kaiju or the Caillou.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
Okay. So we go to the movies. We got all the popcorn. We got everything going. We sit down. We watch the movie for an hour and 45 minutes. It gets to the very last scene of the movie.
The good part.
The good part. And the projector breaks.
No.
Yeah. So I had baby Johnny, little Johnny,
Fast Johnny.
Fast Johnny, and I'll tell you what, he started to cry. He didn't get to see the end of the movie.
I'd cry too.
So that was part of my day, which was really depressing. You sit through a movie, and I'm a dad, so I'm sitting through this movie. I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm liking it, and then boom, I got a kid crying. I got an 11-year-old kind of going, "Oh, come on, Dad, it was a great movie." So I got free movie tickets for the next time.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, it was a great movie from what I saw, but never have I been so disappointed in a movie. I had to leave the theater and miss the ending.
Could be worse. Picture watching Star Wars and getting to the end. That would drive me nuts.
Oh, it still drives me nuts because now I want to know how it ends. And so I don't want to sit through it again, so I'm going to have to wait till video.
Oh, you're not going to go back and see it?
No, I don't have that kind of patience. I can't. I can sit through a couple movies twice, but I just can't do it again. I'm sorry. I told my kids with my box that I have on my TV that gets everything, every single movie that is in the movies, every channel. I said maybe we'll find it this weekend and we'll watch the ending there.
All right, Jeff. Well, Finn just crashed on Jakku. He's looking for Poe. That's our cue to get to some college basketball here. A guy that we know, Eric Mobley, who's the father of a couple Rancho Christian high school basketball stars down there in Temecula, has been added to the staff for Andy Infield at USC. So a local guy who has AAU roots now going straight to Division I college basketball. Could this be a growing trend here where we see travel ball now influencing college basketball?
Well, I mean, travel ball has really influenced college basketball for a number of years. But it's really it's a new precedent now that these travel ball coaches or travel ball affiliated coaches, because I know that Mr. Mobley was not the head coach of the Compton Magic, but he was a big part of that program. You're going to start to see now guys that were travel ball coaches or travel ball enthusiasts are going to become head coaches or become assistant coaches at the Division I level because they can bring players in. It's a smart move by Coach Enfield. For one, he gets a good assistant, probably knows the game of basketball. But two, he gets his two sons, and his two sons are among the top 100 players in the country, and they're going to be coming in succession this year and next year. So that helps. But I do think we're going to see a lot more of these travel ball guys that are going to become assistant coaches at the Division I level.
Yeah, if anything else, like you're right. If you're bringing the dad onto the coaching staff, you would think that's a lock to get the sons who are they're big time high school basketball players. They could probably go anywhere, and now it looks like they're going to be surefire USC Trojans with Eric Mobley being added to Andy Enfield's staff at USC. Now we wanted to come back and circle back to the NCAA tournament and how this kind of comes back to our own backyard with UC Riverside because Jeff, you were on hand at Chrysler Arena on the campus of Michigan in Ann Arbor when UCR lost to Michigan 87-42. That was the weekend right after Thanksgiving. That was a long time ago. That feels like ages ago. But now we see Michigan in the Final Four. So we know what Michigan's all about. They're very good. You saw them with your own eyes, and they've had a lot of tradition. They've won a national championship. So I was thinking, what about the other team? What about Loyola? We found out they got Sister Jean. We found out they won a national championship in 1963. I dug through their schedule. I think of all the games they played, they had one quality win against the Florida Gators early in the season. But other than that, there really wasn't much to kind of pick from, Jeff. But I did notice, though, they're in the same conference as Valparaiso. And who did UCR beat this year was Valparaiso. So the Highlanders beat Valpo by a score of 73-60. Now, so that's a 13-point win for the Highlanders. Loyola beat Valpo twice because they played them in conference, home and away. Loyola beat Valpo twice. The first time they beat them 70-54, which that's a 14-point win. And then Loyola beat Valpo again by 9, 80-71. So if you think about it, UC Riverside beat Valparaiso pretty much on par with what Loyola did. Now, I'm not trying to say UC Riverside should belong in the Final Four, but UCR and Loyola kind of did the same thing.
Yeah, they really did. And we saw glimpses of UCR being very good this year. You know, they had that quality home win against Valpo. They had a great win versus Air Force at UC Riverside. We saw them countless times play to 1-2-point games in conference, and they were so close. But I'll tell you what, after seeing Michigan early in the year and seeing Valpo, there really is a big, big jump because I think Michigan was probably the best team I saw UC Riverside play all season long.
Well, I hope folks are watching us live and amplified on the channel as well. Again, we are live deep in Orange County. The OC has opened up their hearts and their homes to the Inland Sports Show. We appreciate that. They love us down here. All the surfers and the golfers, they come off the beach and they come off the course and they run to their nearest radio so they can listen to Fox Sports IE. Because, Jeff, I was coming down this way, and Fox Sports IE, man, it is a sports monster. You can hear it in parts of Orange County. So, listen, don't get me wrong. The Inland Empire is still number one in my heart, but the OC has welcomed us in, and we appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, driving around, I was in Orange County this weekend a little bit, and driving around, I was picking up Fox Sports 1350 quite well. So it was kind of nice to know that, you know, a lot of people out there are listening to the show. In fact, did a lot of people talk to you last night about listening to the show? Yeah,
we'll talk about that later at the NFF Awards. It was awesome. There was so many. I mean, it was a who's who, really. I mean, Matt Logan, Jeff Steinberg, Eric Zomal, all these great scholar athletes from high school football. I could go on and on. I don't want to because I'm afraid I'm going to skip some names. And, obviously we love all those guys. But it was awesome, and everybody came up to me and said, dude, we love the show. How's it going? Has it been tough? That's 3 hours of talking every single day. And pretty much the general consensus was, we got Jeff Gorham, man. That guy talks all the time. You're fine. So it's all good.
They probably said, "Is he crazy or what?" I imagine that's what you heard.
You know what? You know what? I'll say this before we hit the break, because I know Greg Hollis probably saying, "Come on, guys, let's hit a break." Bert Esposito, the new head football coach at Temecula Valley and a dear friend of the show, he said when he worked with you at Ramona High School, he never enjoyed work or laughed so much as when he worked with you. That you were just like a ball of fun.
He must be really nice, or he had to have been drinking quite a bit.
No, he wasn't. Just iced tea.
No, I'll tell you what, working with Bert, working with all those guys. I mean, I've had a chance to work with some of the best coaches in the area over the years, and I always tend to have a good time. And those guys, I'm sure you had a great time with them as well last night.
It was a blast, and we'll talk more about it later in the show. But yeah, it's an honor to have the Inland Sports Show associated with the National Football Foundation is a national organization, but there's a local chapter, and to have all of those big-time high school football coaches and athletic directors in the same room with 23 of the top high school football players who are also scholar athletes. I mean, these guys have like 4.0s, 4.5s, 3.8s. They take AP classes. They're involved in extracurricular activities and different clubs on campus. It just blows me away, because when I was in high school, I couldn't even get near something like that. They're just off the charts, awesome young men. So we're going to talk more about that later in the show as well. But when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, Jeff, I got to ask you about your basketball team. Man, they are the walking wounded. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes, my favorite team.
Yeah, who did you think? You think I was talking about the Lakers?
They're not my team anymore. I am no longer a fan of the Lakers. I am back on board with my Golden State Warriors.
Of course, I'm talking about G-State. We're talking about Golden State. We're going to talk about their injuries. We'll talk a little Clipper basketball as well. The Lakers in action tonight in Detroit. We'll be back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show, live from Orange County, right here on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
We're small, family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a low-stress environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, a lot of one-owner, clean Carfax, clean title vehicles. As you see, we have Carfax everywhere. That's most important to us, to educate our customers before they make a purchase. We're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cajalco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the Crossings. We have great financing, we have great lenders that we're using. We do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car. Whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
I played once upon a time at Centennial High School. I was actually on the first ever CIF championship team back in 2000, and then my senior year we won it again. I think that's my passion because I've done it. You know, I know exactly where these athletes are at. I know what their mindset is right now. I know how hard it is to, number one, find a performance coach who can take you to the next level. What sets us apart has to be, you know, how we work with our athletes and what we know. We can take an athlete and you know, help them reach their athletic potential, you know, help them, you know, prevent injuries, help get them stronger. I know every single athlete who steps into this gym. I know exactly where they're at, and I'm going to progress them every week. If you're not getting results, then, you know, really what's it about? We're going to deliver something that's measurable, you know, in terms of speed, power, you know, strength, agility.
And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. I am live, deep in Orange County, parts unknown. Jeff is holding it down in Menifee, covering some big-time high school golf. We're all over the place. But again, we do it for the IE, the 951, the 909. We love you guys. And Jeff, we got to talk about your favorite NBA basketball team, and I'm not talking about the Lakers.
The Warriors, baby!
The Warriors. You know, kind of thinking about picking a new NBA team. I'm thinking about maybe going with like the Houston Rockets. Are they having a good year? Are they doing okay? I mean,
hey, no, you got to. I'm telling you, I have not been. I've always been a Golden State Warriors fan.
You have
always. Oh yeah, I remember back in the day when Al Attles was the coach. Do you remember when Al Attles was the coach?
No, I don't.
Exactly, but I do.
Because you're a Warriors fan.
Hey, Joe Barry Carroll. You remember Joe Barry Carroll?
No.
Okay, then. See, I was a big fan. I've been a fan forever. World Be Free. Did you remember him?
No, I got on Golden State when they had Chris Mullin and Tim Hardaway and Mitch Richmond before he went to the Sacramento Kings. Those were the Warriors I remember.
Oh yeah, I've been a fan forever. And just think of this, like Rick Barry was one of my childhood idols.
Oh yeah,
underhanded free throws. Oh yeah. So, but my team is. Are they struggling or what?
They're hurt, Jeff. And Steph Curry was already banged up, and now his knee injury. They're saying he's going to keep him out through the first round of the NBA playoffs, which if you look on a calendar, we're probably looking at the better part of 3 weeks, maybe into a fourth week, that Steph Curry will be out for the Golden State Warriors. So they got 4 All-Stars on this team, and they're all hurt. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, the Durantula, Kevin Durant, and Draymond Green. They're all beat up. They're all hurt. I guess the good news is they're for sure going to the playoffs. In fact, they'll probably be the number 2 team out of the Western Conference. There's no way they're going to catch up with Houston with all these injuries right now. So I guess the only thing they were playing for is home court advantage come the Western Conference playoffs. But they're going to get to the playoffs, and the biggest thing for them now is not if they can, pass Houston for that number 1 spot, which they won't, is just get to the playoffs healthy. Just be at full strength once they get to the postseason. And right now, that's a big question mark because Steph Curry, it does not look good.
Well, when he comes back, just think that he got hurt. He said he was going to wear low tops. JaVale McGee goes up for a block and lands on Steph's knee. He's done. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't look very good for Golden State right now. When your 4 best players are out, they're going to come back at different times. Obviously, Steph will probably be back because I'm sure they'll get through their first round matchup, whomever it is. But they're going to have issues because guys haven't played basketball for a long time, and they're going to be and other teams are going to be in playoff form. It's going to be tough for the Warriors to return back to being a world champs.
Yeah, it is going to be tough. Nobody in the East really scares me that much. They haven't for a long time, unless LeBron has a really good team, which I don't think he's got a really good team this year in Cleveland. But yeah, just the fact that if they get past Houston, that's going to be their biggest hurdle, and that'll be in the Western Conference Finals because Houston will go as the 1, Golden State will go as the 2, so they'll be on opposite sides of the brackets in the Western Conference, so they won't see the Rockets till the Western Conference Finals. But at this point, it doesn't really matter where they finish. They just got to be healthy. If they're healthy, that's going to be one heck of a matchup against Houston. If they're not healthy, I think the Rockets are just going to walk to the championship. But again, when you got LeBron hanging out in the East, you just never know. He's obviously a game changer. I'm not going out on a limb here saying, oh, if LeBron's playing, his team's got a chance. But other than that, like Toronto, I know they're talented. Boston's talented, but Kyrie Irving's been banged up. Washington's talented. They've actually been better without John Wall in the lineup. But no one, if Golden State's healthy, no one in the East scares me. It's just the Houston Rockets between them and another NBA championship.
Yeah, and right now, if you're a betting man, you got to go with the Rockets. The Rockets are playing well. James Harden might be the best, and this is going out on a limb, might be the best offensive player we've seen in the last 20 years. He is unstoppable to guard. I don't know if he can guard anybody, which could hurt the Rockets later on down in the playoffs. But right now, they are the best team playing in the league.
Well, the Clippers, they had a big win last night against the Toronto Raptors, 117-106. And I don't know if this is representative of the entire NBA with West versus East, but think of this, the Toronto Raptors, who are one of the favorites to win the Eastern Conference title, and they lose to the LA Clippers at home in Toronto, north of the border. So the Clippers are a team that's struggling to try to just get to the postseason, get to that final playoff spot, and they go on the road into Toronto and they win 117-106. And Jeff, here's an interesting stat about the Clippers. This is a Clippers team that outside of DeAndre Jordan and maybe Lou Williams, it's a bunch of guys that I really haven't heard of or I don't know much about. But the Clippers are the only team in the NBA that have beaten the top teams in the East and the West. So they have beaten Boston, Toronto in the East, and also Houston and Golden State. The Clippers are the only team that has beaten all of the top teams in the NBA. What do you think that says about the Clippers and their ability to match up really well against the 4 top teams in all the NBA?
Well, it tells me that they're very, very athletic, but 2, that they're very inconsistent. If they're able to beat these teams, they're able to beat Boston, Toronto, Houston, and Golden State, that shows to me that they're inconsistent. They're not playing together all the time. I know they've had trades. They've had different guys have come in and out of the starting lineup, but they're still just the Clippers. They don't seem to be able to get over that hump. I've said it many times. I think this is the last we're going to see of the coach. I think they're going to bring in a new coach. I think they're going to bring in a lot of new personnel, and we're going to see a completely different team than what we see right now on the court come next year for the Clippers.
And the Lakers, they're playing on the road at the Detroit Pistons tonight. There's only a handful of games left now in the NBA season, about 2 more weeks to go here. If you're the Lakers, what do you do from here on out? Do you just give the younger guys a lot of playing time? Do you put Isaiah Thomas out there to solidify whatever notions you had about him, like, hey, Isaiah Thomas, we do want to keep him around for a couple seasons, or Isaiah Thomas is not in our plans, or maybe they're still on the fence. Maybe they're like, hey, we need to start him or give him a lot of minutes out there because we need to make sure. We have an idea, but we need to make sure that we're correct on whether IT stays or whether he goes. What do you think the Lakers are looking at these final 2 weeks?
Well, there's a couple things. I mean, if you're going to sign IT, and I don't think they will long term because there are those free agents out there that the Lakers are hoping to land. They're hoping to land LeBron James and Paul George. LeBron James isn't going to want to come back to L.A. or come to L.A. to play with a guy he hated playing with in Cleveland. But you can sign him on the cheap because he's not going to command those big bucks he was last year. You sign and trade. You might be able to get something for IT. And then you bring in those 2 big superstars. You bring in a Paul George. You bring in, hopefully, LeBron James. But I do see you playing the youth movement. You play Randall as much as you can to see maybe if you do want to re-sign him. You play Kuzma. You play the ball, and you kind of got to just say, hey, let's see how close we can get to a 500 season.
Hey, real quick, I know we need to break right now, but Brennan Jackson from Great Oak High School, big-time football star, was one of the NFF Scholar Athlete Award winners last night, and I saw his dad, and I remember his dad when he came into the studio when we had Great Oak football on the show, he told us, hey, watch out, Kyle Kuzma and Lonzo Ball, they are the real deal. So he called me out on it. He's like, I told you. I'm like, I told him, hold on, Mr. Jackson. Okay, I'll give you Kyle Kuzma. He's really good. He should be like all first-team rookie, maybe even the rookie of the year. But Lonzo Ball, I'm like, come on, man. The jury is still way out. Like 6 points in a game and 5 turnovers. Like, dude, come on. Look, the jury's out on Lonzo Ball, but I'll give you Kyle Kuzma. I'll give him that one. So it was kind of funny that he reminded us about the Lakers. Jeff, we got to take a break because coming up in about 5 minutes, the new head basketball coach at UC Riverside, David Patrick, will join us live right here on the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM.
Focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. We just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. You come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. We are so fired up about this next guest. It's all brought to you by our good friends at Spoiled Quick Quality Oil Change, Ken Sporting Goods, Boost Performance Training, and Catalano Motors in Corona. He is the new head coach of the UC Riverside men's basketball team, and we are thrilled to have him join us on the show. It's David Patrick. Coach Patrick, welcome to the show, and how are you doing today?
Hey, guys, thank you so much for being on your show, and I'm so honored to be your new head men's coach, basketball coach down there.
So, Coach Patrick, you're back in Texas right now. I know you just got off the plane, so you just trying to, I don't know, box up your home and move and get out here? I mean, what's going on right now?
Yeah. I think my wife wishes I was helping box up the stuff. No, I've been on the road. I've been on the road recruiting ever since I was honored to become the coach. So I'm down here trying to, cover this state while I can, while I was able to make some connections down here, coaching. And, with the NCAA recruiting calendar, we only have about 3 days left before it becomes a dead period during the Final Four. So between myself and the rest of my staff, we're just trying to touch every base before we shut it down recruiting wise.
Well, Coach Patrick, as a guy who has moved a lot in the broadcasting world, I highly recommend movers and also pods. They pack it all up and they send it for you, and it'll probably be a big headache off your wife's shoulders as well.
You got it.
Well, Coach Patrick, I know a lot of people out there they're excited to see you come into a program that's just real thirsty to have some wins and some significant victories. They made some strides this year with Justin Bell when he stepped in for head coach Dennis Kuntz, but I think a lot of fans here in the Inland Empire would love to see UC Riverside take that next step, challenge for a Big West Conference title, heck, even make it to the NCAA tournament. I know you just made a trip there with TCU. So, I mean, what do you think is separating the Highlanders right now from a chance to take that next step and be competitive for a conference title?
You know what? I tell you this, as a coach, you kind of watch your peers, and I've always been wanting to come back to the West Coast in terms of being a coach. And I really followed the Big West and the WCC from afar. And I thought they did a great job at Riverside, Coach Bell, when he took over, of getting that team right there. Obviously, they lost some games towards the end, but they were in every game from the games that I watched. And, I have some colleagues and former co-workers in that league, and Aaron Gannett at Hawaii and close friend Dedrick Taylor at Fullerton. So I know the league pretty good. And I think, UCR, was right there. And so when I made the decision to jump on board, I think if we tweak some things a certain way, that we can be right up there competing to win Big West championships here in the near future. Now, Coach, what are some of the things that you're going to bring to UC Riverside as far as recruiting? Because, Riverside itself, the Inland Empire, there's so many good players that have come out of the area. Are you going to recruit outside of the area as well? I mean, you have international flavor. What is the direction that the program is going to go under your tutelage? Well, look, I think in any good program, you got to build from the inside out, and I said that in my meetings before taking the job. So I totally agree. There's great players in the Inland Empire, and you need to utilize that space first. And my time at St. Mary's up on the West Coast, I was able to make a lot of connections, especially in that area. And they're still friends today. So hopefully they'll reciprocate and try to help us get some of those players. And then from there on out, I think you need to look in, within the state of California. But then I think I'm fortunate that I've been around the country nationally, that we can get some players that want to come west and, to warm weather. And, people love California. And then I do think the international component with the academics that UCR gives out, plus the international flavor it has on campus, it's an attractive place for international players to come as well. So I think there's a lot to sell there, and if there wasn't, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at. So I'm truly excited to be on board and sell what the community of Riverside has to offer.
We're talking with David Patrick. He's the new men's basketball coach at UC Riverside. And Coach Patrick, Jeff, and myself were the play-by-play voices for UCR men's basketball. So we saw all the games. Either Jeff did or I did, or we saw them together. And kind of the theme of the entire season was close game after close game after close game. The Highlanders were in so many tight contests the entire season. When you now that you have a chance, now that you're the head coach, when you kind of look back at their season and the players they had and some of the results they had against these other teams, was there anything that jumped out at you based on the record, based on the scores against other teams, based on how they did this year? Anything jump out at you?
I think two things. Obviously, early on, you see them beat Cal on the road. You're like, wow, that's hard to do. I don't care who you are, to go get a road win against a Pac-12 team. And then obviously anytime there's a coaching change, it's hard on players. They're still kids. And then for them to be resilient enough and stick together and go on the road and win at Hawaii, and then come back and beat Fulton at home later in the year. I just thought they didn't quit, and I really believe that even in the conference tournament, they were unlucky to lose there to UC Davis, so they had some fight within them. And I think the biggest thing, and I've been a part of, I guess, 3 rebuilds now in terms of, I don't call it a rebuild, but maybe just a retweak and a rehash of philosophy. So I see them right there, and I'm hopeful that some of the stuff I can bring to the table from an offensive standpoint and all the stuff I've learned defensively from where I've been can just help us possibly break through in some of those close games those guys had.
We're talking with David Patrick, the UC Riverside men's basketball coach, just taking over on the job. Go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say, have you had a chance to sit down and talk with any of the players? And what are your thoughts on some of those guys? I'm sure you've seen or heard of, Dikembe Martin or Johnny Kennedy, some of these younger guys. What was it like when you sat down and met with some of these players?
With all the rules, I couldn't really come on campus till last week. I think it was Thursday. And so I met with the team, and then I've actually spoke to the 2 guys you talked about personally on the phone, and they seemed excited. And what I wanted them to know is, like, I'm not coming there trying to blow up your team or get rid of anybody because, I think some people do that and that works for them, but I think that's an easy way to do stuff. I think they have enough talent right there in the room to be able to win games. So I wanted to be rest assured that I'm not coming in to run anybody off. At the same time, we have the spring and the summer to work out, and it'll be a different kind of work, but it'll be fun, but we'll work hard. And so the guys you mentioned, DK is a tremendous guard, that can really score the ball, and you saw his production when he was playing. And I think when you talk about the Big West, you need great guard play. And so he's a guy in there that can help you. Johnny, obviously, is a young big with great size. And I thought the kid Dykstra, coming back with his ability to shoot the ball the way he shot it towards the end of the year, could help us the way we want to play. So I have confidence in all of them in the room on that team to be able to help us. And first and foremost, they all seem like great kids. And I think anytime you have great kids in your program, special things are in store for them.
Well, Coach, Jeff and I are both glass half full kind of guys, and we saw so many bright spots, so many positives. UC Davis was the regular season champion, and UCR could have beat them 2, maybe even 3 of those times that they went head-to-head with the Aggies. And then Irvine, that was the one game that got away from the Highlanders in Big West Conference play. But the silver lining of this all, and in glass half full, is UCR was in every single game, even the Big West Conference tournament. I still feel like they should have beat the number 1 seed UC Davis in that contest. When you look at this team, do you feel like, you know what, we're not that far off? Like, we're close. There's something here, and we're close.
I totally agree, and I remember now. You took my memory at UC Davis. They should have won. They lost.
Yes,
it was some tremendous, like, throw it to half court and point guard gets a layup. So, because I was rooting for Justin from afar. I've known Justin, Coach Bell, for a long time, and admired him as an up and coming coach. And then to see him get the chance to be a head coach was special to me. So I was rooting for him. So I do see, when you could compete like that, and you got to make mistakes within games, it's natural. But they didn't quit, and then anytime you don't have quitting, I think you really give yourself a chance to win. And the league, that from the outside looking in, there's a lot of parity in it, I think. And every year, I think over the last 5 or 6 years, there's been a different champion come out of there. So my job and my staff's mission is just to make these guys be consistent day in, day out, starting in the spring. And I think good things will be in store for all of us come season time.
We're talking with David Patrick, the UC Riverside men's basketball coach. And Coach Patrick, speaking of your staff, are you at liberty at least to mention maybe who you're looking at to join you on your staff? Are you bringing any of the current UCR coaches back, or is that something you're still working on at this point?
It's something I'm still working through, and all the rules that go on with hiring. I guess I need to be silent on that. But I do think, like I mentioned, I do have a relationship with Coach Bell, and I expect him to be staying on with us unless something was to change. But I think he did a great job, and has great connections within the staff, within the team. I'm sorry. So I think I'll keep him on board, and then I'll address the other guys once I really get on the ground and get a chance to meet with them all one-on-one.
Well, Coach, I know you mentioned recruiting. Real quick, Jeff, let me just grab this one, and then you get the next question, and then we'll wrap this thing up because I know Greg's back in the studio. We're getting ready to hit a break soon. But, Coach, so the recruiting trail, you said that window's small and that window's shrinking on you real quickly. So what are you trying to accomplish in the next couple of days in just terms of recruiting and trying to let kids know out there that you are the head coach and that you'd love to have them in Riverside?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I've got extensive relationships around the country, so I just really wanted them to see me without a TCU shirt on and see me with a UC Riverside shirt on, and then also try to get a jump start on 2019 kids, and then also see, who we can possibly fill this last scholarship or two with at UCR. And a lot of time the spring ball is kind of when the summer ball starts kicking in the spring, late April. And I just wanted to get an opportunity for us to get in front of some of these younger kids before they see us, at the end of April.
Now, Coach, you've come from some very, very quality programs, LSU, TCU, but the Big West itself is really on the rise. You got a new coach at Northridge, Gottfried, who is a big-time coach. The whole program, you have Russell Turner up at Irvine, a lot of great coaches. What really brought you out to lead a great program at TCU, a great program at LSU? What brought you out to Riverside, and what brought you to the Big West? What do you see in the future?
Well, two things. I started my career at Nicholls State for 1 year, and I spent 5 years at St. Mary's in the Bay Area with Coach Randy Bennett. And so, my kids were born in the West, and we've always wanted to come back West when the opportunity presented itself. And I've always thought, when a WCC job or a Big West job opened up, that I'd love the opportunity to coach out here. And so, when UCR opened up, I thought two things. The league is winnable. I thought the team already at hand is like you guys have addressed, is competitive enough to win right away. And I love the location. Selfishly for me to raise a family in Riverside, I think it's a great environment for my kids. And then the other part is, I think the program isn't that far away. I've been at TCU, which is an academic institution where you have to get kids that value education. I think UCR provides that. I've been at a private school at St. Mary's where it's the same deal. It's a smaller school, but we were able to, bring a lot of good kids in there and bring some momentum into a good program. And at LSU and TCU, we took over two programs that were at the bottom of their league, and we're able to turn them. So I've been blessed to see a cat skinned a bunch of different ways, and now I have an opportunity to put my fingerprint on it, and no better place to do it than in Riverside.
Well, Coach Patrick, we appreciate the time. We know you're hot on the recruiting trail. If I could just give you one suggestion, it's that there's these little circles, and you put them under the legs of your tables or the couch, and you can really push those things around. You don't have to lift them. If you want some brownie points with your wife, I'd go pick some up right now.
Hey, I'll do my best. I need to give them to my kids as well. No doubt about it.
Hey, Coach, Pep's offering, he'll come over and help you move stuff. On the other hand, I'm a big star. I can't really hurt myself.
I love it. Hey, I'm going to hold you to that, Pep, if that's the case when I get down to Riverside and get moved in down there.
Seriously, Coach, I've got some really big muscles. Just call me over. I can do a lot of lifting. That's David Patrick, the new UC Riverside men's basketball coach. And Coach Patrick, once you're back in town in Riverside for good, we'd love to get you in the studio. In fact, it's right down the street from UCR. So just let us know when you're back, and we'd love to get you in studio for a while too.
Guys, thanks so much for having me on the show. It's been an honor, and I can't wait to see all you guys and really get everybody back involved in UCR basketball.
All right, that's David Patrick, the new head coach at UC Riverside. Yes, Jeff, you got something?
I was going to say, Coach, we're the two most fun guys you're ever going to hang out with on the road.
I can't wait, man. I love water, so I can't wait.
There you go. We're going to have a good time.
All right. Take care.
All right, that's Coach Patrick. We'll be right back. We'll talk a little Freeway Series, Dodgers, Halos when we come back on the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. And welcome back to the one and only Inland. Look at this if you're watching us live and amplified on the channel. The sun's out, clear skies, a little bit of a breeze. You can see the ocean in the background, Pacific Coast Highway. Beautiful look. Again, Orange County has opened up their hearts to the Inland Sports Show, and we love them for it. Although in our hearts, the IE is still number one overall, the top seed in the NCAA tournament, the Inland Empire. Jeff Gorham joins me live, and Jeff, man, we just had Coach David Patrick, his first interview here as the new UC Riverside men's basketball coach. There's a lot to digest there, and listen, let me go behind the scenes real quick, Jeff, because I think this speaks volumes of the kind of guy that we're getting here at UCR, because he didn't have to do this. Remember, again, he's trying to move his family. He's got, 3 days on the recruiting trail. He just sent me another text and just said, hey, thank you so much for letting me come on the show. He's a West Coast guy at heart. He wants to be there for good. And once he gets situated after Easter, so it's going to take him a little bit to, obviously, Jeff, you've moved. It stinks. It's a headache to get packed up and move your family out here. But he says once he gets situated, he would love to come and join us in the studio. So, again, a lot of these times we do interviews, and I try to reach out to our guests after we do the interview and tell them thank you, we appreciate it, let's stay in touch, that sort of a thing. But to have him do it to us the other way around, I think that speaks volumes on the kind of man that he is, and that just gets me more excited to see him as the head coach of the Highlanders.
Well, I was a little curious just because I hadn't met him before, and through the whole hiring process, there were a couple guys that stood out. John Smith's one of those guys who's probably going to get a head job at a Division I school. And then our friend and the interim coach, Justin Bell, who it sounds like he's going to stay on staff, which is a pleasant surprise. I'm happy. I think Riverside will be happy. But it did speak volumes for him to come on our show and explain. He addressed the local guys. He addressed recruiting outside of the Riverside area. He talked to Johnny Kennedy, talked to Dikembe Martin, mentioned Menno Dijkstra, that international feel. But I do think, with his recruiting ties, he's been with great guys. He's been with Randy Bennett up in the Bay Area.
St. Mary's, right?
And, yeah, St. Mary's. He's been with Jamie Dixon at TCU. Those are quality coaches, quality programs. He was at LSU, recruited Simmons to go to LSU. So the guy knows how to recruit. I just hope that he can recruit to the players or to the system at UC Riverside, because we know it's hard to get guys in at UCR, and it's been tough. But Coach Bell, Coach Cutts did a really good job of the guys that were able to compete and just weren't able to win. So maybe he can bring in new guys and they can win at this level in the Big West.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things to take from this as we unpack that interview. And again, I'm excited that when we finally get him in studio, we'll probably keep him around for like an hour and really just sit down and enjoy his conversation. But I think some of the big things was, and Jeff, you brought it up, and it was a great point, of the current guys that they still have. I mean, it's kind of like recruiting them all over again, isn't it? Like convincing Dikembe Martin, like, hey, you know what? We still need you here. I think highly of you. I still want you here. Guys like a Johnny Kennedy, the underclassmen who you have to go in and show them that the program's going in a positive direction to not only keep them, but like he said, also recruiting new guys as well. So, I mean, that's a factor with any new head coach, right? When you go to a program, these players, Dikembe Martin, he's the poster boy for Riverside, but he doesn't know much about Coach Patrick, and they've got to forge this relationship that they can trust one another, that, when Coach Patrick comes in, DK is going to clearly know what his role still is. He knew what it was with Coach Cutts. He knew what it was with Coach Bell. Now Coach Patrick's going to come in, and I think after some initial conversations, I think all that stuff will iron itself out. But as a new head coach, those are some of the growing pains you go through, isn't it?
Yeah, and in most situations when you're coming into a program and you're the new coach, the program's fractured. But really, Riverside, we've been around the program. It's not a fractured program. All the guys bought into whatever coach they had. They all liked each other. They were all good students, and there didn't seem to be a fracturing of the team. So, like I said, if he wants to bring in Coach Bell, I think that's a plus, because those guys really bought into anything that Cutts or Bell had to offer. And I think they're going to buy into what, Coach Patrick has to offer, because he's a new face. He's been at quality programs, and he's going to bring in guys that are going to take him over the hump And I think everybody in the program wants to win, and that's what everybody wants. So I think he's going to do a good job.
Yeah, that was one of the telling signs that we just asked him, was the fact that you look back at their schedule and there was close game after close game after close game after close game. We saw so many of them. And, Jeff, I know you've seen a lot more basketball than I ever will, but I can't think of a single team over the course of one season that engaged in so many close contests. And it wasn't until the end of the year when they started coming out on the winning side of those close contests, and it was just in the nick of time to get to the postseason, the Big West Conference tournament. But as a head coach coming in, I mean, that's the silver lining right there, that this team is already ready to win. This isn't a team that was getting blown out by double digits every single time they went out in conference play. This was a team going up against first-place teams or second-place teams in the Big West, and all those games were battles. Every single game was a battle in the Big West Conference, and all those games were winnable outside of that one on the road at UC Irvine. So David Patrick's probably got to feel good about what's still left in the cupboard, and also, you know, he probably knows the areas that he wants to shore up, and that's where he's probably addressing now in these last couple days of recruiting.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the cupboard is still, it's not empty. You've got a good core of guys coming back. And think about this. UC Riverside, a handful of times this year, got really blown out. And they got blown out at Michigan. They got blown out at Seattle University and Utah Valley and Irvine. Other than that, they were in every single game. Now the time is the guys are going to be older, a year older. They're going to know how to win. And maybe he can bring that winning ways that he's had at LSU, at St. Mary's, at TCU. Maybe he can bring that, and those guys will buy into it. We know they can. It's just a matter is if they can do it.
Yeah, those are all high-profile programs. I know Gonzaga gets a lot of that love from the West Coast Conference, and deservedly so. I mean, Gonzaga is now a national powerhouse. Jeff, they're not a dark horse anymore. Jeff, Gonzaga, but St. Mary's out of the WCC. I mean, that's a strong program. That's a really good program that's produced NBA guys. So for him to be there. And then LSU, which is the SEC, and then pretty substantial stops in his coaching career. It's not like he's come from the unknown. I mean, he's been in some big-time places, and I think those experiences will only help as he takes over as the head coach of the Highlanders.
Yeah, you learn under Jamie Dixon and Coach Bennett up at St. Mary's. Those are two great coaches, and those guys themselves have taken over programs and turned them around. Think about Jamie Dixon was at Pitt and did a great job. I mean, so he's got the pedigree. We just need to see if he can bring guys in to UC Riverside, because we know it's difficult. There's not an on-campus arena. He's going to have to sell himself to make that program better, and we know it's really hard, and it has been hard since UC Riverside has gone Division I.
Yeah, I mean, because some schools, you know, they're going to hang their hat on their academics, and I totally get that, you know, whether you're a Stanford or a Duke or some of those programs. Heck, even Humboldt State, where I went to school, they had a really great marine biology and forestry program. So if that's what you were looking for, they were the best, and those were the kind of kids you were going to get. But for Riverside, I mean, it can be challenging. We're not exactly on the beach. You know, we're out in the Inland Empire. We don't have a brand new arena at UCR. I mean, there's some challenges there, but there's still a lot of quality athletes that just, you know, want to feel wanted. They want to feel appreciated. And if you can get them to UCR and get the fans to buy in, I mean, I think the whole environment, that's the total package, is you want fans to come in, you know, the SRC arena. If you can get fans in there and buy into what Coach Patrick is doing, you can kind of change the complexion of how people are going to view the UCR team. I mean, can you imagine if the Highlanders, you know, Coach Patrick comes in and he keeps guys like Dikembe Martin on the roster and a Johnny Kennedy and some of these homegrown guys, and he adds maybe some big-name recruits or maybe some JC transfers, and all of a sudden UCR wins the Big West and they're going to the NCAA tournament? Can you imagine? The SRC arena would be rocking. I think hardcore, deep Riverside fans are, I don't want to say patiently waiting, but they've almost gone dormant, like, it's never going to happen. Like, they want it, but they just feel like it's not in the foreseeable future. If he can do something like that, I feel like it would be lightning in a bottle, like it would explode.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but let's remember one thing. Last year, Riverside was a small pond. Now it's a lake because you're adding in another Division I program into the city itself. CBU has a great facility, a great arena, and they're coached by Rick Croy, who is also another guy from St. Mary's. I wonder if they coached together. But that pond just turned into a lake, and now they're going to have to compete with CBU, and it's even tougher for UC Riverside.
Yeah, you know what? St. Mary's, that is the common connection between maybe David Patrick and Rick Croy. I bet you they're similar in age. They might actually know each other or have crossed paths.
Oh, I'm sure they have. And like I said, it's going to be tougher because the pond just got a lot bigger. And it'd be nice to see Riverside because, we are a part of the program. You and I are the voices of the program. We're the voices of the school. We want to see them succeed because we're so, we're tight with the players. We're tight with the administration. And it would be great to see Riverside excel, even at Riverside, but as well at Cal Baptist.
Listen, you go ahead and call me a homer. It is what it is. But we also have a segment here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE called Inside the Lancers. We've got a great relationship with Cal Baptist University. We do the UCR shows and the basketball games. Jeff, can you imagine if CBU and UCR were two basketball powers across the freeway from one another battling? Can you imagine basketball fans would be coming out of the woodwork in the Inland Empire and the city of Riverside? Because obviously basketball in Riverside has very deep, deep roots. So many great players and coaches have sprouted out of the Riverside area. Can you imagine if we had two Division I powerhouses, two Division I teams? Can you UC Riverside winning the Big West and CBU winning the WAC and both teams going to the NCAA tournament? Imagine that.
Oh, it would be huge for the Inland Empire, and it's not without the realm of possibility. You think about it. Riverside was so close this year to make the tournament. I know it doesn't sound like it, but they were very close because they were within every single game. But Cal Baptist, they're 4 years away from playing in the postseason. But I'll tell you what, in those four years, Coach Croy's going to recruit himself some horses, and I wouldn't be surprised if in their first year of eligibility they do make a run to make the tournament because they're as good as Grand Canyon, they're as good as Southern Utah, they're as good as Utah Valley,
even as good as Cal State Bakersfield.
Yes, they're way better than those Roadrunners.
Although they'll be playing UCR soon in the Big West.
Yeah, no one wants to play on a blue floor.
Hey, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm Bakersfield. I'll tell you what, the Big West is going to change. You have UC San Diego coming in. You have Cal State Bakersfield coming in. And then there's talk of the WCC, swallowing up Gonzaga, the Mountain West swallowing Gonzaga. The WCC is going to have some openings because I'll tell you what, BYU is not far behind. There's a chance we could see Cal Baptist going into the WCC before they even hit the conference, the WAC that they were supposed to be in.
Yeah, you know what? The conferences, especially on the West Coast, they're ever evolving. You know what I mean? Like these teams jump from conference to conference. I remember, I'm probably dating myself, but the WAC used to be a great football conference. You had Fresno State in there. A lot of these Mountain West Conference schools were in there. I think Utah was in there. I mean, the WAC was a great football conference. Now you look at the WAC, and it's kind of mishmash. It's kind of like the Mountain Valley League of college sports here on the West Coast. There's just schools from all over the place, kind of schools that didn't necessarily have a home geographically or proximity-wise with other schools, and they threw them all together. Like you said, Seattle and Bakersfield and Utah Valley and Grand Canyon. It's all over the place. I know the current Pac West where CBU plays right now, they're spread out all over the place as well, but that's at the Division II level. But the WAC, it just seems like in its current state is pretty wacky. And I think CBU, if they had the chance to go to the WCC, if there was an opening, it makes the most logical fit. Another small private Christian school that's going to have a great student fan base. It kind of fits in with with the other programs, the other schools that you would find in the WCC.
Yeah, and the thing is, Cal Baptist would fit in well because they don't play football in that conference. I'll tell you what, if Gonzaga leaves that conference and goes to the Mountain West, the downside is that Gonzaga doesn't have a football program and all the other teams in the Mountain West do. But it does say one more question is, BYU is not going to stay in a conference without Gonzaga. they're going to leave because they're a big football power. There would be a great reason for BYU to go back into the Mountain West, which they left just recently. That was the last conference they were in. They need to compete in football. They need to compete in basketball. And if they can't compete in basketball because Gonzaga's gone, it makes it a walkthrough for them. I see them going into the Mountain West as well. That leaves 2 spots in the WCC. Grand Canyon and Cal Baptist would both fit very well into that.
We'll definitely keep an eye on that. And again, a big thanks to David Patrick, the new head basketball coach at UC Riverside, for joining us in the previous segment. Still to come on this show, breaking news with Indomitian Sioux. We'll have that, plus NASCAR rolling out on a Monday at Martinsville because of snow on Sunday. Unbelievable out there in Virginia. We'll also talk Freeway Series. But coming up in our very next segment, we'll have our Marines Recruiting Station Riverside Athlete of the Week. And also we'll recap the National Football Foundation Awards from last night. We'll be back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. From Orange County to Menifee and everywhere in between. I'm Pep Fernandez. That's Jeff Gorham. Greg Holla back in the studio holding it down. We appreciate you guys tuning in if you're watching us live right now on the channel. That is the Pacific Ocean. Wonderful. We got like pine trees. We got the Pacific Ocean. We got a bunch of bad golfers in the background just hacking it up over here on the course. It's a wonderful day. And Jeff, you're on the course as well. You're on the golf course covering some big-time high school golf today.
I don't know how big time it is because it sounds like the same kind of golfers that you're watching as what I'm watching. These high school golfers from Heritage are battling it out versus Citrus Hill. And if Tim Hatch is your coach, I've watched him swing a golf club. It looks like Charles Barkley. So it is the battle of the nasties. But no, what a beautiful place here. And Menifee Lakes is a great course out here in Menifee, and Tim said, hey, why don't you come out and watch? And I'm sitting out looking over the beautiful, beautiful course, though. A lot of ducks. I know you like ducks.
Oh, what's not to love?
You hate birds. We have a bird expert coming in next week. Just thought I'd let you know that.
We do? Did you already book that?
We're going to have parrots. We're going to have all kinds of birds in studio just so you can freak out. We're going to get you over that fear.
No,
I
don't want to.
Bird.
No, it's a healthy fear. I don't need it. I'm good.
Okay. I'll cancel it then.
But you know what? It did cross my mind more than once because I'm set up in a balcony area for the show right now. And it did cross my mind. I'm like, you know what? There's probably some seagulls around here. They better not come up on me.
Hey, you know what seagulls are, right?
What?
Flying rat. They're just flying rats. That's all they are.
Is that exactly? That's right, huh?
They're just horrible, horrible creatures. All they do is poop on you, and they eat anything. If you put a steak out there, they'd eat a steak. If you put another seagull out there, it'd eat a seagull.
Oh,
They're
man.
Vile creatures. Vile creatures.
Vicious birds. That's why I don't like them.
No, birds are dumb.
Hey, I want to give a quick shout-out to the National Football Foundation. They had their big awards ceremony last night. And, Jeff, it's kind of funny because a lot of these football players, you know, we only see them normally with helmets on and their uniforms. You don't actually get to see their face. I want to see their face and what they look like. And the football coaches, for that matter, usually, you know, their faces are sunburned and they got a whistle around their neck and they're wearing a visor and they're all kind of scruffy. But you go to the NFF awards, everyone's in tuxedos. Everyone just shaved. Every hair is perfectly in place. Like everyone looks like they're at the Friar Tux, the modeling catalog. When you open up, what tuxedo do I want? They all walk straight out of that. Like everyone looks great, and you walk around, and you're like, I think I know that person, but you know, without the tattered shirt and the scruff and the whistle and the sunburn on the cheeks and forehead, I'm not really sure who you are. But all these coaches last night and the Scholar athletes, they look great. They looked fantastic in their tuxedos last night.
That sounds horrible. I'm wearing flip-flops and shorts everywhere I go. I'm not showing up in a tuxedo unless I'm getting married or I'm getting buried. That's it.
Those are the only two times?
That's it. I don't want to be wearing – why would I want to wear a tuxedo? I'm a big chubby-faced guy with a chubby body. I'm 6'8". No, there's no way. You have fun with that, I'm sure. Hey, did you see Coach Broach?
I saw I said, if it ain't Broach. In fact, I was taking, because the Inland Sports Show, we're so big time and I'm so big time. What they do is during the ceremony, each of the 23 Scholar Athlete football players, they get their big award, and then they make their way off the stage, and they come back around to this fireside room, and they get to take a picture with me. How cool is that? Like, what an honor.
Wait, they get to take a picture with you?
with me, this guy. This guy right here.
Yeah, so each person got a picture taken with you.
With me. So I know. I can't believe it either. It really happened.
What the hell is wrong with those people? What the hell is wrong? Come on.
But what's funny is so each of these kids come around and they take a picture. but it's just a good time. They take the picture, and then they go back out for like a group photo where everyone gets in there, all 23 of the scholar athletes. So it's a good time. Everyone's looking good. They got their tuxedos on. The food was fantastic, and it's a who's who. I mean, you walk into the room and Matt Logan, Coach Broach, Zomal, Lunsford, who's now going to Redlands East Valley, Jeff Steinberg, who's already at Beaumont. So you look around the room, and all the big names in high school football from Riverside County are there. And going back to Broach, so I was taking the pictures in that fireside room, and his wife walked by, and I stopped her and I said, "Listen, I know Coach Broach doesn't like publicity. He doesn't like media and doing interviews and taking pictures." I'm like, "Can you do me a favor? Can you make sure he does not leave until I track him down? I'm going to take a selfie with him." And she said, "Done deal. I'm not going to let him go." So sure enough, after the awards ceremony, we took a couple more pictures around the fireplace, and boom, who was standing there waiting for me with his wife? Coach Broach.
Well, it's only because his wife, Kathy, right? Kathy Broach, listens to the show and is like a big fan of on Twitter and all the other Facebook. She's always retweeting the Pep Fernandez stuff.
Yeah, the whole Broach family. So Kathy Broach is his mom, and then Tanya Broach is the wife. So
wait, Coach Broach's mom is the one that tweets all this stuff?
I believe so.
Holy cow!
I think so.
And by the way,
yeah, go ahead.
Were you standing on a box because you're so little?
Jeff, I'm like 5'10", even with those ugly black shiny shoes. You have no idea how tall I am.
You had shiny shoes on?
You have no idea how tall. Did I sing?
No, did you shave?
Did I shave? I shaved a little bit. I left a little bit of the beard. And I gave you know what? And my wife's like, "You got to give yourself another haircut," because I missed several spots. Because again, I rely on you, I rely on Greg to tell me, "Hey, Pep, you've got like a duck butt here. You missed a spot over there." Because I cut my own hair, and my wife said it was really bad last time you did it. You need to clean yourself up before you go to those awards. I can't put on a tuxedo and look like a mess.
Yeah, I just can't picture anybody you in a tuxedo. Like I said, if they ever ask me, I'm gonna say, "Can I wear flip flops and shorts and maybe a jacket?"
Oh, it was awesome. Reggie Doss, former L.A. Rams great. He was there representing the L.A. Rams Legends community. He presented the Deacon Jones Scholarship to Robert Hireman, the Valley View receiver. Excuse me. So we had Reggie Doss there. That was awesome. We also had Rob Wygod, the CIF commissioner, was in the house. Glenn Martinez, the assistant commissioner. And Rob Wygod said something that kind of resonated with a lot of people. And I know he was joking, but I think there was a lot of truth in it. The fact that he has 2 daughters, and he said, guys like those 23 scholar athletes that we had last night, those are the kind of guys, if you have daughters, those are the kind of guys that you want your daughters to go out with. Like, those are the kind of guys who have 4.5, they're athletically inclined. All these guys have scholarships. Like, their whole future is in front of them. They're the leaders of tomorrow. And as a father with daughters myself, I totally get it. I know it got everyone got a big laugh in the room when he was saying that. And I know he was kind of joking, but there's also some truth there. I mean, you got sons, and I know you'd probably like them to be scholar athletes as well. And as a father with daughters, those are the kind of guys you're looking for.
Hey, all I know is this. I have 3 boys.
Uh-huh.
You have 3 girls. We're going to be related somehow, buddy.
No, it's not going to happen. No.
Well, hey, whoa, my kids aren't good enough for you or what?
No, it's just I don't want to spend Thanksgiving and Christmas with you every year.
I want to spend Thanksgiving and Christmas with you. I want to do it at your house. I don't want anybody in my house anymore.
How did my house get picked already?
Hey, trust me, I've had many Christmases at my house because of the Smedbergs. And if I can get the Fernandezes involved, I'm going to take everybody to your house.
Oh, man. All right, well.
Hey, just think of this. Connor's going to be married to one of your daughters. Luke, who's only 1, he'll be married to one of your daughters too. But it's going to be a little awkward. But just know, And Johnny, yeah, he'll be married to one too.
Well, I took my beautiful wife Tara to see the Piano Guys on Saturday, and one of the Piano Guys is actually a cellist. He's an awesome cello player. Like, he's unbelievable. Jeff, you know me. I'm not a music guy. I don't know anything about music, but I really enjoyed the Piano Guys. And I remember telling my wife, hey, Jeff's son Connor, he plays the cello. He's also a basketball star. And she's like, ooh, that's a good combination. I'm thinking, oh, no, here we go. Jeff and Tara are in cahoots.
Have you shown Tara my son's eyeballs? How blue they are?
No,
They're
need to.
Spectacular. I'm going to send you a picture. I'm going to send Tara a picture of my son, and she will be on board. We're gonna, hey, you won't even have to give me any goats or anything to marry your daughter off.
No?
No, you might have to give me some money though. I'll take money and a lot of food, a lot of donuts.
Lots and lots of donuts.
Yeah, if you just, that'll be the dowry. Is that what they call it, the dowry?
Yeah, I think so. You make like an exchange between the families.
Yes, my exchange will be just to let you be part of my family, and then in exchange you'll give me donuts and just one goat. I do want one goat.
All right, as soon as we get goats, I'll give you one.
All right, sounds good.
Still working on the goats. Hey, real quick before we wrap this thing up, congratulations to our Marines Recruiting Station Riverside Athlete of the Week. It's King High School golfer Johnny Walker coming off a big win at the Wildcat Invitational. He also won the Riverside Challenge Cup. That's the big King tournament at General Old. And, Jeff, this guy is only a freshman, and he's already dominating at the varsity level for high school. So remember the name, Johnny Walker. Even Tiger Woods had to get his start somewhere.
How can you forget his name? He's named after one of the finest liquors in the world, Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker out of King High School, big-time freshman phenom. And, again, all these great golfers, Ricky Fowler, Brendan Steele, they all had to start somewhere. Remember the name. Johnny Walker, just a freshman at King, has already won a couple tournaments as a freshman, coming off a big win at the Wildcat Invitational, and really dominant as a freshman. When we come back here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM, breaking news with Ndamukong Suh. We got that when we come back on the one and only Inland Sports Show, Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
Focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. Just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. Come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
There we go.
And welcome back. It's the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. We're proudly brought to you by our good friends at Spoiled. Quick quality oil change. I went to Spoiled before heading down deep into the OC. Kin Sporting Goods, more than 40 years in the Inland Empire with all your sporting gear needs. Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Make sure you follow Boost on Instagram and Twitter. And Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road. That's Catalano Motors. Jeff, breaking news. And I know as a Rams fan, you are fired up about this one. I think, right? Because this guy's a little rough around the edges. But we had breaking news today, and I think you like this.
I'll tell you what, I'm excited because I know what you're going to tell me, and I have a rebuttal, and I can't wait.
What am I going to tell you? That that Ndamukong Suh's a bad dude, and he causes problems, and that the Rams still gave him $14 million, or what?
I'm going to tell you this. Do you remember? You just talked about the great Deacon Jones.
Yes.
We're going to have ourselves a new fearsome foursome.
No.
Yes. I'll tell you what, we have 3 right now, if you think about it. You got Peters, you have Sue, and then you have Talib. That's 3 of the 4, and those guys are all fearsome.
Well,
you need a 4th.
Well, Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald, the defensive player of the year.
I know, but he's not a jerk, so you can't really, you can't say he's fearsome. Well, yeah, I guess you could say there's the 4 right there. They've added 3 guys. The fearsome foursome.
So it's okay they're not all linemen, but they're all on the defensive side of the football at least. There's that.
Yes, that's all I was thinking. That's all I can think about is they have 4 of the top defensive players in the NFL. Sue's a little long in the tooth, but I'll tell you what, he can still play, and he's going to cause some havoc to some offenses in the league, my friend.
So it just came down the pike today. In fact, I just got the official email from the Los Angeles Rams, and I'm going to pull it up right now because he signed a 1-year, $14 million contract with the Los Angeles Rams today. So Ndamukong Suh coming to the Rams. He's going to join forces with Aaron Donald on that defensive line. Like you mentioned, they shored up their corners as well with Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib. So this is a team that obviously spent the offseason concentrating on the defensive side of the football, and Ndamukong Suh, one of the best in the league on the line. But Jeff, he does come with some baggage. He was stepping on guys and pushing guys. He's a little salty, just like you, and I think that's maybe why you like him. But he does rub a lot of people the wrong way. So I know Rams fans, it's probably one of those cases when he's on your team, it's all good. Like, oh yeah, I like that fiery kind of guy who likes to walk the line and really walk that border of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable on the football field. But when you're playing against him, he's just a big jerk. But when he's on your team, you're like, I like that guy.
Well, yeah, you got to think of it this way. All great teams have that one guy. Think about it. You have the Bad Boys. The Bad Boys had Dennis Rodman. The Chicago Bulls had Dennis Rodman. In baseball's notorious for having some bad boys. There's always you always have to have a bad boy to win. You look at the Golden State Warriors, Draymond Green is that bad guy. He's going to be the enforcer to stabilize that crazy defense. And the Rams have a great offense. Now I'll tell you what, everybody who's in Southern California that's a Rams fan has got to be excited for this upcoming season.
So Ndamukong Suh was the number 2 overall pick by the Detroit Lions in 2010, and he received the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year that year. He was first-team NFL All-Pro, 5 career Pro Bowls. So obviously the resume speaks for itself. He's a stud on the defensive line. We all get that. Here's a pretty vanilla quote from the general manager, Les Snead, in the Rams official press release. Quote, "We are excited to have Ndamukong as part of the Los Angeles Rams. He's been an outstanding player in this league, and we are looking forward to having him be a part of our defense." Pretty generic. Not much there from the general manager, Les Snead, but on the field, yes, he is a difference maker, Jeff. And, I mean, he's going to really help Aaron Donald clog up the middle of the field. If you've got some guys that are going to harass that offensive line on the opposing team and you've got 2 cornerbacks, that's going to make life real difficult for opposing quarterbacks. I think that's a recipe for a really good team. Not to mention, this is a Rams offense that really clicked last season, really had a breakout year, going from the worst offensive team in terms of scoring points per game the previous season to the highest scoring team the next season. That had never been done in NFL history until this past season by the LA Rams. So the offense is in good hands, and now you've got Ndamukong Suh. Now you've got this defense, and you've got a bunch of guys on that defensive side of the football who are some characters. They're a little rough around the edges. They're going to get to that ball in a bad mood. And I guess on the defensive side of the football, maybe that's okay because that's what you need.
Well, yeah, it's going to set other teams. They're going to be aware that the Rams have a defense now. My only question is, the Rams have done a lot in the offseason, but they are missing the one key element that made their offense so well, is that number 1 receiver. Will the Rams go out and find themselves a number 1 receiver, or will they find it maybe in the guys they had last year? Could we see a Cup? Could he become a number 1? That's the big question I have if I'm a Rams fan. Do they have that number 1 receiver so that they can make those other receivers so valuable? Because the quarterback, I'll tell you, Jack Skellington, Goff was great last year, and it was a lot had to do with that number 1 receiver.
You know, that's a great point. I think they've addressed a lot of different areas on that football team, but after losing Sammy Watkins to the Kansas City Chiefs, Yeah, that front line number one receiver might be the only area that they're still looking at, and maybe they try to go to the draft. Maybe there's a receiver out there that could emerge. It's hard to see a rookie stepping in and being the number one guy right out of the gate, but that's probably the one area. Cooper Kupp and who's the other guy? Robert Woods. They got Robert Woods still there, so they do need to shore up a number one offensive threat. What's kind of peculiar, though, about this whole Ndamukong Suh thing is that the Jets reportedly made a huge offer, the biggest offer out there for Ndamukong Suh, and then they quickly pulled it back off the table. So they offered it, and it was reported out there that they offered it, and then the Jets said, "Wait, hold on. Sorry, we're taking that table off the table. It's out. It's no longer out there, and we're not interested in Ndamukong Suh." I don't know what happened there. Do you have any thoughts? Any theories? Conspiracy theories? What went down with the Jets?
Well, I from what I read, and I read a lot today about the whole situation, is that Kirk Cousins really changed the whole landscape of the way the free agents are signing. They all want guaranteed money now. And I think a big selling point, or the big reason that the Jets pulled their offer, is because he wanted more in guaranteed money than the Rams could offer. So they decided, hey, he wants this amount of money. We can't offer a guaranteed contract. He pulled it off the table, so he fell back on the Rams.
So Ndamukong Suh, one man's trash is another man's treasure. A 1-year, $14 million deal with the LA Rams. The timing of it, once we heard that the Jets took that offer off the table, the Rams, I guess, were the front runner. The Titans and the Saints were also interested in Ndamukong Suh, but it looked like the Jets were not going to get him. And Suh was probably holding out for the most money, and I don't hate him for that because again, he's been in the league since 2010. Football takes a serious toll on your body. You got to get the money while you can. And if the Jets were going to offer him the most money, I wouldn't hate him for going to the New York Jets. That's actually a team that kind of came on a little bit stronger towards the end of the year after starting out as kind of a laughingstock. But the Jets actually kind of did okay at the end of last year. And if he got the most money in New York, more power to him. But now he's going to the Rams, 1 year, $14 million. So I don't feel too bad for him. I don't know what the Jets offer was. I don't think it ever leaked and went public. But $14 million for 1 year, I would take that.
Yeah, I believe that somebody said it was $21 million over 2 years, and it wasn't fully guaranteed. But you see, the problem is now you have guys like Suh, you have guys like Peters, Talib, the running back for the Steelers. Those kind of guys, they're kind of Odell Beckham Jr., another guy. They're not going to command long-term contracts because of their off-the-field antics. You don't want to invest your time and money into these guys if they're going to turn around and screw up and cost your program years and years down the line. You're going to see these guys that are causing problems off the field. Their contracts are going to be 1 year to 2 years max, no more than that, just because of what they're doing off the field.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell of the Steelers might be the top running back in the entire NFL. In fact, he's such a threat catching the ball out of the backfield as well. But there might not be a huge market. Of course, someone's going to want him. He's that talented. Of course, someone's going to take a flyer on him at some point. But, yeah, guys like him, OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., man, if you're an NFL owner or a general manager, I wouldn't even go near that guy at this point. Some of these guys, they just have so many off-the-field issues. It's not worth it. It's not worth it when you have a certain product, a certain brand to associate with something like that. I don't care how good they are. They're going to tarnish the brand. And you got to think about that as an owner, as a general manager, because you're looking out for the entire business, not just winning games on the field, but as a business.
Yeah, and you cannot do the things that these guys are doing. Odell Beckham Jr., a great player. But this isn't the 1980s when they were throwing money around on these receivers that were, you had the Michael Irvins of the world. They caused a lot of problems, and a lot of money was invested in these guys. You're not going to see guys that are causing problems off the field command that money anymore. If you're a great guy, you're Garoppolo, who's won – how many games has he won in the NFL? He won 5, but
7-0 or 8-0, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not going to see him doing anything off the field. those guys are going to get the big contracts. Like, granted, they're quarterbacks, but they're leaders. The guys aren't going to screw up. That is where the NFL, that is where most of these leagues are going. The NBA is going that way. Major League Baseball is going that way. They're not going to pay the ding-dongs the money they want.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, let's talk a little NASCAR. We're going to turn left to Martinsville as they race today. They postponed on Sunday because of snow out there in Virginia, so they went today onto the track. We'll also talk a little freeway series between the Dodgers and the Halos, and we may even mix in a Lakers-Pistons update on the floor right now in Detroit. We'll be back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
We're small, family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a low-stress environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, a lot of one-owner, clean Carfax, clean title vehicles. As you see, we have Carfax everywhere. That's most important to us, to educate our customers before they make a purchase. We're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cahelco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the crossings. We have great financing, we have great lenders that we're using. We do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car. Whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
How you guys doing? Ray Bass here again at Corona High with the Corona High football program with the one and only Pep Fernandez. Today's boost training tip, it's all about top end speed, getting our knees up. We're talking about the A-run. Come see what it's all about. Okay, so we're working on right now, you can call it top end speed, absolute speed, max speed. Really all that means is that we're opening up our stride, getting our knees up. And one of the things we like to emphasize here is that cyclical action with the legs. So with the A-run, all we're doing is pulling our heel to our butt, stepping over and around the opposite knee, and it's all about turnover. We want to get as many reps as we can. So Jake's going to go ahead, he's going to jog to the hash, and then he's going to hit a nice and quick A-run all the way to the opposite hash. Here we go, ready, and go. Jog, 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 hit. Heel to the butt, toes up, over and around, over and around, over and around, over and around. Nice, very nice, very nice. So you want to get as many reps as you can here. You always want to have your ankle locked, toes pointing to the top of your shoe. A great drill to emphasize is getting your knees up, getting that cyclical action. The A-run. Not doing it, you'll be doing it. We do it right here at Boost.
And we are back on the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. Jeff, it's getting chilly out here in the OC. I had to put a sweater on, man. I'm going to have to bundle up here.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm hanging out in the clubhouse here at Menifee Lakes, and it's nice out. It's very nice in here as I look out, and it's windy, though. I'm just not part of it right now. I'm hanging out.
Well, we got beautiful weather here in Southern California. The sun is out. In fact, I think it's going to hit the 80s as we get closer to Friday and Saturday, which are the first county clashes of the season. So we got high school baseball at San Manuel Stadium, the proud affiliate of the Inland Empire 66ers, proud affiliate of the LA Angels. And there's going to be high school baseball Friday and Saturday night. And I already looked at the weather forecast, and I think it said like low 80s on Friday and Saturday. So it's been awesome weather here in Southern California. Fingers crossed, I think we just got through the end of winter as we're now officially into spring. But I don't know, man. I feel like we really didn't have a winter here in Southern California. Usually there's at least one or two like cold weather snaps that we get. And you're like, ooh, that's cold. Get the fireplace going. I don't know if we really had a winter this year.
No, in fact, last week, remember everybody was bracing for Storm Watch 2018.
Oh yeah,
it really kind of fizzled out. It really wasn't much of a storm. We didn't have any, major rain. But I'll tell you what, everything looks really nice and green, so you can tell it's definitely going to be baseball season and definitely spring.
You know what? The one day of winter that we had in the Inland Empire, there was only one day, and it was the day that we tried to do a live baseball game at Cal Baptist between Santiago and Servite. The one day that we have winter in the IE, and we're outside with all the fancy, expensive equipment in a hailstorm. It looked like it snowed all over Riverside.
Hey, it was crazy, but I'll tell you what, I experienced a little winter. Remember, I saw 6.5 feet of snow in 2 days in the lump when you guys sent me to Steamboat Springs, Colorado to cover the Olympic Games.
Oh, that's right. We sent you to the birthplace of the American Olympic spirit, the cradle of life for the Olympics, for the red, white, and blue, Steamboat Springs. Yeah, that place looked like the North Pole. I was getting ready for you to hang out with Santa Claus. Like, it looked like the North Pole, just white everywhere.
Well, it was the first time I had ever experienced a blizzard. And if you've ever been in a blizzard, it's dead silent, and you can't see anything 2 feet in front of your face. So yeah, you guys all experienced a wonderful winter. I was worried about I was gonna have to eat my family driving to the airport. I thought I was gonna end up somewhere crashed, and I was gonna have to eat my youngest Luke, who's a year. He would have been a snack. Then I would have had to go.
It's like a buffalo wing. That's like the curly-haired buffalo wing.
I'm telling you, man, it was a scary time. I experienced snow a lot. We were in Utah. I experienced snow. It was freezing in Michigan. It was raining like crazy in Seattle. Yeah, you sent me out on all these great venues where it was freezing cold, and you were sitting there all nice and warm.
Oh, it's always nice and warm in the studio. Hey, but one place where they did have winter, even though it's technically spring now, was Martinsville, Virginia. Martinsville, where the NASCAR Cup race was, and it snowed hard, and they postponed the race on Sunday. Usually we see rain delays and whatnot, but not a snow postponement. So Martinsville, they had snow on Sunday, so the NASCAR Cup race, in fact, the Truck Series ran this morning too, but the NASCAR Cup race was this afternoon. I was watching it live as we were getting ready to set up here for the Inland Sports Show, and Clint Boyer won for the very first time in 190 starts. That's several years in a row that Clint Boyer had not taken the checkered flag, but he gets the job done, holds off Kyle Busch. Clint Boyer led a majority of the laps in this one as well. And Jeff, the cool deal about Martinsville, and it's a traditional thing that they do year after year, is the winner, they don't get a trophy, they don't get like a medallion you put over the neck, they get a big wooden grandfather clock. And I actually had to look it up. I looked this up a couple years ago when I was covering NASCAR a little bit closer. And really, it's just a tradition that the original guy at Martinsville said, you know what? The race winner needs something more than just a trophy or a plaque or a medallion. Let's give him a clock. Because, you know, at Auto Club 400 here in Fontana, at Auto Club Speedway, they give them surfboards. Because we're California, right? We're cool. We surf. We're at the beach. But at Martinsville... Go ahead.
You're telling me that they gave the guy who won a race a grandfather clock?
A huge, big, heavy grandfather clock.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
No, it's
That's
traditional, man. It's history.
And in Fontana, they give away a surfboard?
Yeah, because we're California. We're cool. We go surfing. We hang out at the beach.
Oh, that's just stupid, man. You should always be
Well,
a big, like crystal ball or a crystal something, like like you kiss. Who the heck's gonna kiss a grandfather clock?
What, you don't tell the time? You don't ever look at a clock? You're like, oh, what time is it?
It's only right twice a day if it stops working.
What if you're sitting at home in Shangri-La by the pool and you hear the grandfather clock strike 6 and you're like, hey, it's 6 o'clock, it's dinner time.
I don't want to hear a grandfather clock. I have children. I don't need any more noises.
Congratulations to Clinton Boyer, your champion at Martinsville. First win in a long time, nearly 200 starts as he takes the checkered flag and the grandfather clock. When we come back here on the Inland Sport. Hey, what's up?
Did Kevin Harvick do okay?
He did do okay. That's my boy. Yeah, he was like in the top 5 in the last couple of laps, and as I was watching it, he wasn't going to catch the leader, Clint Boyer, but he's in the mix. He's always in the mix, and it was Boyer holding off Kyle Busch, but I was hoping Harvick was going to get that win. He's been red hot. In fact, he had 3 straight wins going into the Auto Club 400 here in Fontana, but in that one, it was Martin Truex Jr. getting that win, but Clint Boyer back on top. I know you're excited about that. He's your favorite.
I am. So
your favorite driver. When we come back, we'll have a Lakers versus Pistons update and also the Freeway Series. Game 1 last night, it goes to the Dodgers. Game 2 tonight, and we'll kind of look at that matchup as well. We'll be back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
Focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. You come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
And welcome back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Going strong on a Monday. I love coming off a big weekend of sports. Of course, we had the NCAA tournament. And, Jeff, what a time to be alive, man. We got the Final Four. We've got baseball starting this week. We've got all these NFL signings. It's just a great time to be a local sports fan. We've got the county clashes going on at San Manuel Stadium. We got your boy Johnny Walker at King High School, just a freshman, tearing it up on the course. Is Tim Hatch back yet? The Citrus Hill golf coach, is he hanging out with you in the car yet?
No, he's wandering around still. I saw him a second ago, but Tim Hatch has a very small attention span.
Yes.
So he's like, if you say squirrel, he's running for the squirrel. He's a little lost. So he'll show up, though, I'm sure, here in a few minutes.
Well, Tim Hatch out there. Is it just Citrus Hill against Heritage, like head-to-head? Is that what's going on today?
Head-to-head. This is a golf clash among the Titans.
Oh, man, they're going to write books about this one.
Yeah, I think he just told me a couple minutes ago, he said that they're still only on the third hole. So they'll be playing for a while there. Yeah, I don't know how good these two teams are.
Man,
but they're on the third hole.
That sun better stay up in the sky. That's another long round of golf still to go.
Yeah, they only play 9 holes, in high school, unless they're playing an invitational or a big. Because they start after school and they play 9, and they have 6. They have 3 flights of kids, So, yeah, they just play a little slow, especially if you have guys that aren't very good.
That's a lot of
down the game.
That's a lot of shots. They would not want me on the course at the same time. I would take about 10 shots on each hole at least.
Are you a golfer, Pep?
Not really. I don't golf too much. Some guy in a headset was yelling goats and donuts on my backswing.
I'll tell you what, Pep Fernandez. I have my Callaway driver right now in my trunk. I'm going to go out and hit a few balls. I'll tell you, I don't hit on turf. I hit on grass. I'm a fantastic golfer. I'm a 3 handicap, you might ask.
Big Bertha. Has anyone seen my Big Bertha? Oh, it's in the back of my Tesla.
Hello, but I need my... Excuse me, bartender, can I have my Stella Artois? Yes, that's how I play golf.
I know that's how you play golf. Live update from Detroit. The Pistons have just taken the lead on your Los Angeles Lakers. And when I say your, I use that very loosely, Jeff, because everyone knows in the Inland Empire now that you are fully on that Golden State bandwagon. You have abandoned the purple and gold. You are now all G State all the time.
Hey, my 40-plus years of living, I have always bled purple and gold. But I'll tell you what, the atrocity I have seen from Irving Magic Johnson and Jeannie Buss making such a big spectacle of Lonzo Ball, I think he's just an average point guard in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sold on him. You know, I know he's a local guy from Southern California. He went to UCLA. For whatever reason, the stars were aligned for the Lakers to get him with the number 2 overall pick, and that's all great. But is he the savior they were looking for? Was he the next Magic Johnson? Was he the next? I know he's not the same kind of player as LeBron James. They have a different skill set, but in terms of star power and the impact he can make onto a game, he's not any of those. In fact, I don't think he'll ever even be an all-star. But is he gonna have a career in the NBA? Yeah, he'll probably have a career in the NBA as long as he wants it. He'll probably stay around. But is he the guy that's going to resurrect the Lakers and get them back to the NBA Finals? I don't think he's that guy. That's why you go out in free agency and you get that guy like LeBron James or Kawhi Leonard or whoever that might be, a true superstar in the NBA.
Well, he's just so inconsistent. We see glimpses of brilliance, but along with those brilliance, you'll have 8 to 10 turnovers. You can't be a superstar in this league. You can't be a superstar for the Los Angeles Lakers if you're not consistent. All of the greats that have worn purple and gold have been consistent players. We haven't seen enough of Lonzo Ball. We've seen a great deal of Kyle Kuzma and Julius Randle this year. Those guys have been stellar. The jury is still out on Brandon Ingram. He's a good player, but is he great enough to take them? Because it's only about championships with the Lakers. You can't continue to live in mediocrity. You got to go for the gold.
Well, Jeff, another live update from, it's not the Palace of Auburn Hills anymore, is it? Don't they have a new arena in Detroit?
Yeah, they can play outdoors in Detroit. It's all the same. It's rotten.
Detroit is now up on the Lakers, 81-76 as they head to the fourth quarter. Now, remember when Detroit landed Blake Griffin in that trade, they were right there on the fringe of a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference, and I think they were hoping that Blake Griffin was that missing piece to get them over the hump, and not only was he not the missing piece, in fact, I think they took a couple steps backwards. Our intern Cullen pulled up a stat the other day that the Pistons were like 6-13 or something like that since Blake Griffin joined the team. So instead of going forward, I think they actually fell further behind in terms of the Eastern Conference race.
Well, I think when you add, key, I should say not key guys, but backup guys, supporting role guys to your superstars, you become a better team. But I think when you change a superstar mid-year, it takes everybody around the entire team to kind of mesh with your superstar. That's the problem you have when you trade a superstar, is that you are going to take steps back because you don't know how these guys are going to react to that superstar. Maybe Detroit goes out in the offseason and picks guys that are more comparable to his skill set. But right now, without Reggie Jackson, they're not the same ball club.
Well, I know we spend a lot of time in the Western Conference for good reason because you love the Golden State Warriors. Houston's the best team. We talk about the Lakers and the Clippers. But over in the East, we've got Toronto. They are currently the #1 seed, and it looks like they're probably going to hold off Boston for the top spot in the Eastern Conference. Following Boston, Cleveland Cavaliers at #3, but again, they have LeBron, so it doesn't matter if they're the 3 seed or what seed they are. They're going to be a force. They'll probably be a wrecking ball, in fact, in the East. I wouldn't be surprised to see if they get back to the championship finals, the final series. Let's see, Philadelphia's at #4. That's been a great story to see the 76ers back on the rise after several years of extreme futility. I mean, they were bad, really bad. But if you go down the list, there's Detroit. They're in at #9. That's where they were before they got Blake Griffin. That's still where they're at with Blake Griffin. And right now they are 5.5 games behind the Miami Heat. So let's see, they've played 73 games. So they have 9 games left. 9 games left. And they're behind Miami by 5.5. I don't see them chasing down the Miami Heat and sneaking into the playoffs. And if they did get into the playoffs, they would get Toronto in the first round and probably just get blasted.
Yeah, I don't see Detroit making any impact on as far as making the playoffs. I do, however, though, think we talked about Philadelphia. Philadelphia hasn't been good since Dr. J and Moses Malone, for God's sakes. These guys, they did it. It took them a while. Some people said they threw a couple seasons to get those top picks, and those picks really haven't always worked out. But a couple guys have. Simmons is a very good point guard. Will probably be the rookie of the year, and then you have Joel Embiid has been phenomenal. But the questions you have about those guys, can they hold up because they've had injuries? They've missed on a couple draft picks. Nerlens Noel was a bust. And they've kind of missed, but I am happy to see Philadelphia back in the mix because it's nice to have them in the playoffs.
So if the Eastern Conference played out the way the current standings are right now, the Eastern Conference semifinals would be Toronto against Philadelphia and Boston against Cleveland. That's actually pretty fun. I mean, given the fact that whoever wins the East is probably not going to win the championship, whoever wins the West will win the championship. But when you get down to the Eastern Conference semifinals, I think those will be pretty fun, competitive series. Not saying that team's going to go on and win the whole thing, but I think if you just take those for what they are, I think that'll be really fun and really competitive.
Yeah, and it all depends on if Kyrie Irving comes back. Right now he's out. And there was talk that Gordon Hayward was going to make a comeback. I don't think that's going to happen. But if you do get Kyrie Irving back and he's healthy, they could be dangerous because Boston's been there. They had the best record last year in the conference. They have some pieces. They could make it a series with Cleveland. Cleveland's going to have a hard time if they end up playing these 7-game series when they end up having to play a Western Conference team who just could really, really hurt anybody out of the East. I don't see Houston playing too many 7-game series. I do, however, see Cleveland playing a few.
And speaking of good series, how about the Freeway Series as we transition to baseball here for a couple minutes on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE. The Dodgers took round 1 against the Halos last night at the Big A. 4-2 is that final score. Chris Taylor was the hero last night. It was tied at 2 in the 7th inning, and Taylor called in the bomb squad, broke up that 2-2 tie with a home run. Yasiel Puig, El Regalo, also with a home run as the Dodgers won 4-2. Lots of home runs in this one because the Halos' 2 runs came on a couple solo rides. Mike Trout went deep on a solo home run, and Zach Cozart also went deep on a home run. Cozart with 4 home runs this spring to lead all the Halos. Jeff, do you get excited for the Freeway Series, even though it's an exhibition? Do you think there's any way that this will be telling for the rest of the season, or maybe we'll see these 2 teams at the end of the year playing in the Fall Classic for the World Series title?
20 years ago, I would have said yes, it was a great thing, the Freeway Series. But through the years of interleague play, these teams play each other so much. It seems like every single week a National League team is playing an American League team. That luster's gone a bit. But I'll tell you what, when you have guys like Zach Cozart with Pujols, Mike Trout, those are some heavy hitters. If they can continue, They could be this could be a very good team in the American League. And the Dodgers, were so close, and they're just continuing to get better and better. I'd love to see a true three-way World Series at the end of the year.
Yeah, those Tampa Bay Rays versus pick your random National League team. Rays versus Padres interleague games kind of spoil that whole American League National League separation, but it's all right. We love interleague play. Angels and Dodgers continue the series tonight. This one's going down at Chavez Ravine. Matt Shoemaker will take the mound for the Angels, and the Dodgers will counter with Rich Hill. In fact, we interviewed Matt Shoemaker. Intern Cullen went out to the Inland Empire 66ers when Matt Shoemaker was rehabbing last year for the Angels. Great dude, made time for the Inland Sports Show, so we appreciate that. So these are two frontline starting pitchers, so that's kind of cool. I know it's only an exhibition series, but it's pretty darn close to the real thing when you see Rich Hill and Matt Shoemaker both on the mound for the Dodgers and the Halo. So we'll talk more about the Freeway Series tomorrow on the show and get you set for opening day coming up on Thursday. When we come back on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, we will wrap things up. We'll also remind everyone about the Inland Sports All-Star Classic. It's coming back, and we still need your input as we select players for this IE tradition. We'll be back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
Okay.
And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports 1350 AM. We're finishing up strong here. A shout out to Tim Hatch. Where's Tim Hatch, Jeff?
Hey, Tim Hatch showed up in a giant Chevy van. It looked like the Bad News Bears. The only thing they were missing.
Yeah.
The only thing it was missing was their shirts that said Chico's Bales Bonds.
Yeah.
Hatch was driving the van. There was a bunch of hooligans in the back. Their arms were hanging out the van window.
Oh, my gosh. We love you, Tim Hatch.
Yeah, Tim Hatch and his boys at Citrus Hill. I don't know if they were victorious, but they were driving around like maniacs here in the parking lot here.
Well,
like
a big Citrus Hill versus Heritage golf match going down. Hey, some breaking news. The CIF Southern Section just released its all CIF boys basketball teams. Congratulations to Rob Robinson, our dear friend from Notre Dame. He is the Division IIIA Coach of the Year, and his star player Anthony Holland is the Player of the Year. And then in Division IVAA, Jackson Wood, the Coach of the Year, and Victor Obioha, the big man out of Hillcrest, is your Division IVAA Player of the Year in the CIF. Jeff, that's a big deal. Congratulations to all those guys.
Right, both great guys, great coaches, and they represented the IE well in the playoffs and during the basketball season.
They did. Fantastic run for both schools, including Notre Dame, all the way to the state championship game. Tough loss to Pleasant Valley. The show's been brought to you by our good friends at Spoiled. Quick quality oil change. You'll be spoiled by great customer service and low prices. Check them out. That's Spoiled. Ken Sporting Goods. More than 40 years in the Inland Empire, bringing you all of your sporting gear needs and Letterman's jackets. They love doing that embroidery. It's Ken's Sporting Goods. Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. There's only one Ray Bass. Make sure you follow Boost on Instagram and Twitter. BoostTrainingSystems.com is the website. And Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road. You can buy, trade, and finance all in the same spot. Make that car shopping experience so easy. No pressure, no headaches. It's all good at Catalano Motors off Temescal Canyon Road in Corona. Jeff, tomorrow we'll talk more about the Inland Sports All-Star Game. It's coming up April 7th at RCC. Boys and Girls All-Star Clásicos with Teen Vision TV 16, and we'll talk more baseball here on Fox Sports IE for the Halos and the Dodgers. For Jeff Gorm, Greg Holla, I'm Pep Fernandez. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 o'clock, right here on the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.